And whenever you're ready, you have 8.5 minutes.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I used the exercise that was found in class the other day to describe the scariest moment of my entire life. I was 14 years old and I was walking back home from cheerleading practice. Someone stopped me on the street to inquire about how to get somewhere in the neighborhood. Me being my approachable and cheery self, I stopped for them, of course. And when I looked into the car, the gentleman was undressed from the waist down. I didn't know what to do. Naturally, I took off running in the opposite direction as fast as I could for as long as I could. I ended up at my home residence. My parents called the police, and luckily, I walked away unharmed. I'm your colleague, Kelis Hood, and I'm here today to discuss reality-based self-defense. I want to first start with a scenario. Let's say, for instance, Beyonce, my girl, who is wonderful, has had a busy day and has to do some grocery shopping. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way in hell that Beyonce does her own grocery shopping. But let's just say her bodyguards and her entire team of specialists are busy with someone just as big as her, let's say Lady Gaga. And let's say that Beyonce also didn't have a babysitter for tonight, so she had to take her newest bundle of joy, Baby Blue Ivy, with her grocery shopping. Let's say, unfortunately, Jay-Z was busy at a concert in Ireland, and he couldn't make it. So let's say Beyonce successfully completed her grocery shopping and was walking down a long, cold street by herself. Let's say a hooded assailant came up and attempted to rob Beyonce. Now, Beyonce has various choices. She could punch her assailant in the face, she could kick her assailant, or if she had it available to her, she could mace her assailant. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. This is absolutely preposterous and would never happen in reality. But I did this for a reason. I did this because oftentimes our thoughts on self-defense are elaborate, grand, and preposterous. I know myself. I say, if X, Y, and Z happens, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Now let's use me as an example. I often say, if a vicious dog attacks me, I'm going to punch it in the nose, I'm going to kick it in the stomach, and I'm going to tussle it to the ground until I come out victorious and unharmed. But let's be honest. If something as vicious as that comes towards me, I'm going to do what comes naturally. I'm going to run as fast as I can and for as long as I can. All jokes aside, when I was doing some research for my technical speech, which is on reality-based self-defense, I ran across an organization called BART, which is the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center. And according to BART, 1 in 6 women and 1 in 33 men will experience an attempted or successful rape in their lifetime. I thought that statistic was preposterous. I was also reading our very own Huntington News, and I browsed across the crime log and found that one of our own Huskies was walking down the street, minding his business, when 2 men came toward him. One had a knife, and they attempted to rob him. Now, I don't say this to scare you guys. I say this to say that we are all potentially victims and all potentially vulnerable when we're walking the streets. Dr. Randy Borum, who is the author of The Psychology of Reality-Based Self-Defense, said it best. Not all of us have an inner barbarian that is waiting to be unleashed. Now, he says this to say that not all of our instincts are to fight back. Some of our instincts are to run. And that's why I'm here to present reality-based self-defense. Now, according to Jim Wagner, who is a teacher of self-defense, who is an expert on self-defense, and who has written many articles on self-defense, reality-based self-defense is a series of crucial survival skills that are used in a conflict situation, aka reality. Now, it's important to note that reality-based self-defense differ from other martial art forms for 3 reasons. A, it normally doesn't offer the ceremony that is found in other martial art forms, like Brazilian capoeira, or it doesn't offer the formality, and lastly, it doesn't offer the tradition. Now that I've given you a little bit of background history on what reality-based self-defense is, I want to talk to you about a specific system of reality-based self-defense that's called Krav Maga. Now, it started right here in Israel. It was started because Israel was being torn apart by war and terrorism efforts. Now, you may question why I have a Prius on the board. It's because Krav Maga is a hybrid art. That is a term that is highly used in the martial arts world, and it definitely means that techniques and principles are taken from a lot of different martial art forms and combined to make an entirely different one, which is Krav Maga. The founder of Krav Maga is Emmy Lechenfield. His homeland is Israel, and he saw his homeland being torn apart by war and, as I said before, terrorism efforts. So he wanted to make a self-defense that was efficient. It was actually used by the IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Forces. But now it's being taught all across America to women, men, and children to ward off potential kidnappers and potentially hazardous situations. Now, Krav Maga is effective for three main reasons. One, it focuses on a person's natural instincts to fight back in a potentially dangerous situation. Two, it is very easy to learn. So Krav Maga is not filled with all of these different chops and kicks. It just uses things that we naturally do to get us out of harm. And three, it is minimum. It focuses on doing the minimum bodily harm to the person that is the supposed victim. Now, Emmy Lechenfield would tell all of his students a quote, and it was, and I quote, "A baby's elbow is stronger than the balls of Muhammad Ali." And basically what this quote says is that you want to attack the most vulnerable thing on your attacker, which is most oftentimes, if it's a man, the groin. In any event that it's a woman, the groin. Now, another reason why Krav Maga is so effective and why it works so much is because of the famous quote, "Less is more." It's not this huge backpack that is filled with all of these different techniques to teach you to do crazy things on the street if you're ever in harm. It focuses on a couple of key specific moves that you can use in various situations to get yourself out of a potentially bad situation. Now, there's only one rule of Krav Maga, and that is to never get hurt. And I want you guys to repeat after me.
Never get hurt.
Oh, that was so lame. Say it like you mean it.
Never get hurt.
I want to show you one of the techniques of Krav Maga, and it's called the sweep. When I was a child, for some reason, people would always bother me. I don't know if I was just really annoying or if they just really wanted to bother me just because. But I do remember that when I was in the hallway, I would always be nervous that someone would come and trip me from behind. And that's one of the moves that Krav Maga uses in the sweep. It's very important to note because I told you guys that it focuses on your basic instincts. The sweep is something that we did as children. It's something that we did to just play with each other. And now we can use it to potentially get ourselves out of a dangerous situation. I'm going to show you a brief clip.
Okay, I'm going to go to the board, open bottom. I'm looking in the eye, but not so hard because...
He's going to strike him first and follow up with another strike and then sweep him to knock him off balance.
Look where his weight goes. He goes back now. In position of coming in. Now take him down.
He's just going to repeat it. So now that I've shown you guys the technique of reality-based self-defense, told you guys what it is, and explained to you a specific system, which is Krav Maga, if you didn't take anything from this speech, I don't care. I just want you to remember that if you're ever in a potentially dangerous situation, that one key rule that Krav Maga has, and what is it?
Never.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.